going from coaching the CIS, mature graduate players from major junior, and then going back to actual coaching major junior players, what were the challenges or differences, and how did you have to adapt?
Yeah, and I've been asked that a lot. I said hockey players are hockey players. Uh, they want to get better. They want to be challenged, and they want to know that you can make a difference to help them. So it doesn't matter. I have 6 to 8 year olds here at 4 o'clock. The same thing. They want to get better. They want to enjoy the experience, and the hockey players are competitive by nature. So and we get the 20-year-old graduates, 21, which we have three of those. But overall, I said they're outstanding. And sometimes as coaches we assume, and I think we got lucky because we had the 30 days and we could start at ground zero, how we wanted things, right back how we wanted to pass the puck. Like I'm kind of old school on that. I'm not John Wooden. Here's how you tie your shoes, but I do go. The first thing we do every year is how we want their hands and how we want to follow through and how to pass the puck. And we did the same thing in St. John because I think passing is the number one skill. Like that we got to work on as Canadians, but good teams have it, and we want to get better at it. That simple skill of passing the puck, especially our defensemen to move it quicker and to, I'm kind of a bit of the passes have to be on the tape. We shouldn't miss passes, and we always have in our opening drills, for a practice, we have openers, maybe 4 drills, openers, do our little stretch, and then practice starts. And, we'll have the three pass rule. There's only 3 passes missed in those 4 drills by the whole team. And we should be at that level. And we want to pass the puck like pros. We want to pass it fast and accurate, so, but no, they were tremendous. Again, hockey players are hockey players, and our guys have a little bit more experience, maybe when they come to university and that type of thing. But these guys, I was fantastic. And one of the things we have at UNB, we've through the say past probably 8-9 years. We'd have probably 2, maybe at the most 5 French speaking players, and they've been tremendous players for us. In St. John, we had 14, so, and they bring lots of great emotion. And it was a bit of like one of the activities we had done just in the dress room in our challenge. And wow, like it was, second day we did this little contest, and the emotion out of that dress room, I said, wow, if we can get this energy steered the right way, we got lots of energy here. And, but I tried to, even though I don't speak French, I tried to, have 14 guys that speak French as their first language. So I'd ask our captain, okay, tell me in French or tell me in English or whatever it may be. And they did give me the 10 phrases in French that I need to know as a coach for you guys. So I want to give them the opportunity, to have a meaningful voice as well, that type of thing. So.
Gardner, excellent job. I'm sure this is one that we're going to have a lot of people listen to the entire hour, 34 minutes. Um, uh, really, you're speaking to the choir when it comes to emotional intelligence and coaching. And boy, you've highlighted that in spades in terms of the way you coach. A friend of mine's written a book, and he has a line. It's called Coaching or Leadership is about doing the right stuff, the right amount, the right time, the right amount, the right the right amount, the right time. And Tim Bothwell has added the right way, and you just seem to do that perfectly. So congratulations on your performance, and it's great having you on. Uh, some of us are going to stay on and talk over about what we might have got out of it. And I know that Tom, he and I are usually the last 2 on, and he leaves when he has to go to practice. And he's still skating at 75 years old, and I think he gets about 3 ice times a weekend. And he's still having a great time loving the game, and I'm sure all of the players that you've coached and touched are going to play the game as long as Tom is. So thank you very much for your time, Gardiner. I really appreciate it. I'm going to edit little bits and pieces out, but this is one that's the entire thing is priceless. So thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, listen, it's an honor and a privilege for what you guys do, and I said it's great to you I guess move things forward or pay forward. And I know, Wally, when you did all those different uh, topics out when we did that Hockey Canada, and I was a young coach from northern Manitoba coming to Calgary, and Tim and the different people you have on. It's just a real honor, and this is tremendous what you guys do on a weekly basis. It's outstanding, and I said I need a couple of 40-hour days here. Our team comes back next Wednesday, and but I need 7 40-hour days to catch up with all the knowledge you guys have out there, and that you distribute on a weekly basis. So the pleasure's all mine. Thank you very much.
Like I mentioned, Gardiner, to Tom Rennie, I says you got to join the Sharks when you retire because that's when you'll have time. And I
Yes.
don't know if you'll ever retire, but
Yeah.
when you stop coaching and are looking for something to stay in the game with, come on board because the people on here, we're lifelong learners, and the title "No Dead Sharks" comes from Tim's Bothwell's line in the Woody Allen movie.
Yes.
His girlfriend in the movie asked him what they what does he think of the relationship, and he said, "Well, it's like a shark. It's not swimming, it's not breathing, it's dying." So
That's
we're all
great.
swimming and learning. So thanks again for your time, Gardner. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. All the best, fellas. Thank you.
Take
Yeah.
care. Bye bye.
Excellent.
Well, guys, I'm just curious here if some of you are staying on about your favorite takeaways from this, if anything. Anybody?
I think what I found to be the most refreshing was that the processes and the ways that he went from the CIAU to the junior, and how he got his team to play the best that they could, and didn't really worry about the oppositions. He knew what he was up against, and they were the underdogs. But it was very refreshing to me having those viewpoints and the things that made them successful, because it just reminded me that the way that I've always done things isn't outdated. And occasionally, sharks get referred to as outdated, and I really take offense to that, because the minds that are on here are all leading edge in my mind. And the things that he talked about just reconfirmed a lot of the beliefs that I've held my whole life, and a lot of the people here obviously hold. I was laughing through most of it, because it reconfirmed to me that the good of what he did, and how he did it, and got the team to focus within themselves. And you know what? It's a hockey game. The score is 0-0 when you start, and if you don't beat yourself, and you play within your means, and I love the simplicity that he talked about, like, because I think that that's one of the challenges we face is simplifying this thing. The principles. I love the word principles too. It was well
Jordan,
done.
okay, go ahead, Kerry. Anything else?
Nope, not right now.
Okay. Jordan?
Yeah, I just jump on what Kerry was saying there. The big takeaway for me is he calls them principles instead of systems, looking more principles than systems. I know that Marty St. Louis, it was structure over systems. So it's that piece of big picture thinking rather than having players so stuck on systems that they don't think. So it's that piece, and yeah, it was really good, Wally. Thanks for having him on.
Tom Malloy.
I think it was great. It was great how we kind of restructured their mindset when he got them together. That play with the principals and that they were going to be the hardest workers. I think that's a big thing. That one of the biggest things he's done, and I hear from other years, his teams are more fit and work harder than other teams, and I think that's what he implemented there. That was the important thing for the guys to do: shorten the shifts up a little and really give it when you're out there. And and that's everybody knows that's what you should do, but it's really hard to implement.
It's probably what drives us all crazy, Tom, because it's probably not as hard to implement. It just we don't, and or I shouldn't say we wouldn't, but I love the maybe taking the minute shift down to a 48-second shift with high intensity, and I started giggling about it. It was just refreshing. I'll tell you that much.
I liked his reference, and this is what intrigued me. He talked about three-line hockey, making the fourth line still feel valued and using them at that level and giving TV time out. It all made sense. Terry, you talked about minor hockey being two-line and even one-line hockey, and that point of shift length, exhaustion, physiology for the sake of winning is the demise of our game. And so when you said the Sharks are outdated, you're right. We're outdated, but we're right.
Wow, but we're also leading edge, and I think that's the unfortunate part about it. I mean, because we got open minds, and you've seen the successes that stuff like this brings. I don't find the Sharks outdated at all. All I find out is that a lot of people don't respect the experiences and the mindsets of the people they should, and that's a crime to me, Tom. I mean, there's plenty of us that have been through the experiences out there and had successes, and and Gardiner, I mean, with his university team is a 4-line team because they play at such high intensity that they have to. They couldn't fundamentally play, and there's a different amount of games at the university level, versus the junior level. I understand that, but I think for the most part, what he does is he gets everyone to feel a part of the team, and that's what's important.
It's the weirdest thing in minor hockey that they have you like in Canada, unless you're in the very elite like the AAA. They have 17 skaters, which is 11 for 6D, or you know what I mean. So you always have to have somebody double shifting or rotating double shifting, and even for practice, it's crappy because if you have 4 lines, the way you can run practice and roll things is so much better than you have, that 2 players on one thing. And I have no idea why Hockey Canada has that rule of 19 instead of 20.
Well, and I think at the younger ages, like before you get to Bantam, AA, and even some of the Pee-wees, I would like to have more teams, and I like the 3 lines and 5 defense to get more rotation and playing more game time. But with you have more teams, so instead of getting narrower with the numbers and having one team that has 4 lines and or whatever that amount is, just add another team and do the 3 lines and 5D. It all depends how much ice you got too, right?
Well, I think 3 lines and 3 sets of D would be better than 17 skaters. And probably because I've coached college so much that you practice so much that it just makes practices just way easier to manage and distribute the work and all that's better.
You don't exhaust the kids as much in practice because there's enough guys to.
I wanted to get Hal's feedback, sort of with his lifetime experience and still actively coaching in high school hockey. What are your takeaways from his presentation, Al?
Well, I just love it. You know, I mean, that's a very, very unique situation. But it's no different actually than if you come in as a brand new coach in a different program, or you got a whole new group. You have to do some of the things that he had to do. But as I think about the whole thing, and just like Kerry was saying, and you listen to him and you go, oh yeah, 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 I know that. I mean, that, you were going, but why do we know that? Because we've been doing this for so long, and we learned. I mean, he learned too. You don't grow up, you're not hatched as a baby as a hockey coach and know all this stuff, right? You got to learn it. You got to learn it the hard way sometimes, and unless you're just stubborn. But I really thought it was terrific. I also think that the 3-line, 4-line stuff, Tom, you're right. Practicing with that short number is clearly a problem. In minor, you call it minor, we call it youth. Where I coach down here, a lot of the teams only have 13 skaters, and then they have more teams. But it's hell for practice. It's awful. But you know what they do? They don't practice very much. They play a lot of games. They play 65 or 70 games, and and I don't like that because they develop a lot of bad habits if you don't get them back on the practice rink and kind of dial them back in. But anyways, overall, I thought it was great. I'm going to share Wally, I'm going to share the video of this with the head coach of our program. I'm going to send it up to the trail head coach in the BCHL. I think hopefully he'll watch it. I hope he'll get a lot out of it. In the last week, one of my former players is applying for his first head coach job at a high school in Minnesota. So I've been on the phone with him quite a bit. So he's going to get a link for this. So yeah, I mean, I just, we're not out of date. We do it right, I think. So I loved it. Thanks for asking for my input. I appreciate it. Sometimes I talk too much, but I appreciate you including me.
The thing that I was reminded of and took away, and I'm almost embarrassed about, was the attention to detail that he has.
Mm-hmm.
And how he looks after the X's and O's to a degree that I've never done. And coupled with that, his ability to know the importance of players feeling important and valued, how to communicate with them so that they believe in themselves and to buy in, is a perfect example of how to coach in that environment. So I think it's a lesson for all coaches that there's a line between being too technical, and I don't mind just playing games, Hal, because not every coach is going to have the knowledge to teach. They might confuse, and they might turn kids off and be negative. So they might be better off just playing games and focusing on good habits and cheering good habits, but writing a list down of what are they, and let's cheer each other about the good habits. And let's not.
The other thing that he said, and he said it really quickly, which I haven't done it every year, but I've done it quite often. He does a profile sheet on every kid. He has them fill it out. What's your favorite movie? What's the last book you read for pleasure? Did any of your parents play sports at a high level? And if so, what are they? Do you have an older brother or a sibling that's a great athlete? So you can, what's your favorite course in school? So you have, so now what you're doing is you're saying, I care about you. I want to know who you are. And I think that goes a long ways. And I think I used to say, And when I did that role of the coach for the USA Hockey clinics forever, I'd say you've got to spend twice as much time coach on the off ice on getting to know players than you're already doing. To do this right takes a ton of time. It's 800 hours a year, and most coaches won't spend the time. They just won't invest enough into the kids and getting to know them. If they play other sports, show up at those games in the off season. Just show up. That's all you got to do. Stuff like that. I mean, detail, caring. Get those kids to know you care about them.
If I was to describe Gardiner, the most important thing is he's authentic.
Oh.
He's authentic. You can trust him in a hurry. And trust builds respect. And once you have that, buy-in is easy. So he's a coach that walks the talk of the mission statement of what sports are for. He really appreciates the importance of hard work, work ethic, learning, accepting roles, earning roles. I'm just so thankful he was able to come on, and I might encourage him to come on again later when we can get another prominent guest in and have some questions ready for them. I know everything I wanted to ask was covered over the course of the entire conversation. So, Brax, I'm glad you could join us. Welcome. I thought about you and how you built a team of grinders to win. I don't imagine your grinders, they did learn to score, but that Scotty Bowman line, your team learned to do what they could do to the best of their ability, and it achieved success. And I think Gardiner would be really proud of what you've done with those young kids and with your philosophy. So let's keep banging on the door of ethical coaching and doing things the right way and making the game better. Thanks very much, everybody. I appreciate your time. We're close to 2 hours. It's an average length session. So, Tom, anything you want to say in closing?
Oh, I really enjoyed this session here. I'm going to play this afternoon, and 2-on-2 or 3-on-3 with the nets at the top of the circles. And what I'm learning from it, it makes the most difference of anything I've ever done in my life as far as skill and handling the puck, and I'm just saying for myself, because a guy came out that I hadn't played since last year, eh? And he said, "Have you been working on your stick handling?" And it's just from these little games. You just got the puck in your stick all the time. So you take that thing and you say, how do I do this in practice so that the players have small groups, are getting the puck all the time, they're not standing in line, and that kind of stuff. So, it's kind of a personal thing, but, I am playing this afternoon, and my best player from last year is going to come. She came into town from northern BC. She's going to come and play with us, so that'll be interesting.
Hell, what Tom just said, that's why I think play more games and the practices you have, make them all like that. It's easy. You don't need to know how to coach then. You let them play and they'll learn how to play and they'll get puck touches, and by trial and error, like he mentioned on passing, he looks at handling the puck and feel. He teaches it. He teaches the fundamentals so that you can do that. And that can be done very early at a very young age, but it isn't.
It was interesting to hear him say that he allowed 3 missed passes in the 4 warm-up drills. So he probably goes about 10 minutes with these quick, but 3 was a max that was allowable. So guys have to focus on taking passes.
Yeah.
Because that's probably the worst skill we have in Canada, is taking passes.
Well,
Especially with the new sticks.
yeah, they're pretty stiff, but they flex and you can shoot to score.
Oh, yeah. Well, one of the other things I found interesting was, and just my final little note, is when he talked about the six skilled chemistry guys, and I always refer to the foot soldiers, right? And how in game coaching, he would switch some of those around depending on his own coaching. And when I made the comment about that's part of being the secret of being a great coach, it just reminded me that, that process sometimes, when you start a game, you can keep the same group together at times, but, the Scotty Bowmans of the world, sometimes guys aren't on. And the use of the six forwards and then the other six forwards is what I would always do. It was, I called them my foot soldiers, or I called them my six guys, whatever you want to call it. But it was interesting him mentioning how he gained the trust of those kids so early, or so well, that they wouldn't, they would let him make those decisions without much problem. Obviously, I mean, it was good to hear.
Listen, before we go, I'm going to pick your brains, everybody here. Hell, it had to do with your comment on 9 forwards, 4 defensemen, 5 defensemen, and let's play games that way, especially if your ice time's an hour or smaller. So that means less practices. I agree with that. But what are the habits that you would cheer, encourage, recognize, and want players to recognize and comment on and cheer? So when players come back from the ice in a game, you've vocally praised it in front of the players on the bench as a coach, and you're hoping that in time the players will pat that player on the back for his back check, whatever. So what are the habits that you could embed, teach, coach, reinforce in games? And that's all you do. Focus on the positives. What are they? I'm writing them down.
You want, who do you want, just spout them out? Because one of my favorites is being first to the puck.
Okay, anything else?
Great effort.
Effort. Anything else?
Find open ice.
So player gets open. Boy, did he know where to go. Did he get to the right spot? Like, I'm thinking of what to say, what to praise. Anything else?
Face the play with and without the puck. You see the puck and face the play. One of the biggest faults, especially coaching minor hockey, is line backhand pass kind of things and that. And they do that extra skating that you make positive plays.
Okay.
I also, one of my big ones is for the younger kids is help your buddy. Go over and you know what, support the puck. Be around the puck. Don't stand there and watch. Just, you can, if they're first to the puck, you got to go up there and help them. So I call it, whether it's puck support, or I always say help your buddy. Go help your buddies, because then it gets more team oriented into it.
I say shift length. If players have a proper shift length, that's high energy. So play at a fast pace, good shift, nice pace. And I write down back check, recognizing back check.
Wow.
Well, the other thing
one
I loved what sorry, Hal, go ahead.
That's right. Make a play.
Make a
Because a
play.
lot of minor players, they just give up the puck. They don't try to do stuff. And the reason is if it doesn't work, they get criticized. And if it's the right idea, but the execution isn't quite there, you got to go, hey, that was cool. Try it again. Go do that again. That kind of stuff. Make a play.
Yeah.
And try to make offensive passes when possible, instead of just possession passes. You know what I mean? Like in the offensive zone. like that whole cycle back and forth, throwing the puck in the corner. What was that all about? You know, try to do something that's going to result in a scoring chance.
I loved his comments about the defenseman moving the puck and with 2 seconds instead of the 6 second D to D turnover stuff. That was that hit home with me. Playing fast I'm a big believer of that, heading north south too. So, but for young kids, the other thing too is join in. Great way to join in, like the fourth and fifth guy heading up the ice. Once you move the puck, don't stand there. Join in.
Yep.
So I'm saying here we're coaching all these things. A coach has to recognize it. And I'm just thinking the average coach, not the coaches that are here like Tom and all of you, the detail of more offensive passes is pretty advanced. Good passes, smart passes, effective passes. I'm just thinking, you think of the average coach that you're mentoring who can't teach like you do and point out the details like you do. Because I'm going to put together a list for them to play small area games, and at games to communicate in a positive way by recognizing the good things that happen.
Mhm.
End of story. That's all that I think advanced coaches can get to the details that we've brought up here. So give that some thought down the road. I may come back to it, but you're all got to put your mentor hats on, Tom, not your coaching hat. You're working with coaches, and we're trying to get volunteer coaches to be more positive, to achieve those things by praising them when they do happen. That's all. And I think that's something that might make the game better at the minor hockey level and make it a more fun experience for everybody. That's for sure. So listen, my schedule today, and at 3:00, I'm going to watch Kerry's team for about a period or two. His son's playing the Koreans. The Canucks are playing the Koreans at Max Bell at 3, Tom.
I think it's actually at 4:30, Wally.
Oh, 4:30. I thought it was 3.
Yeah, no, it's 4:30. So
okay, I may watch a period, and then I'm going to head over to the Great Plains Arena to watch Jordan female teams. There's a number of teams trying out for the AAA midget team and the AA midget teams at the Fire Starter. So I've got to do some cooking preparation right after this, and I'm looking forward to editing this weekend. So
I
thanks
thought
very
you'd be coming at 3:30 to watch our small game.
I'm coming.
Where are you?
Boy,
we better get that on MTV so we can watch it on TV.
Are you at Crowchild?
Yeah,
Huh?
And it starts at what time?
3:30.
A little bit early with my schedule, but if it was at 3, I would. Then I can get over and see Kerry, and then I can get over and see the other one. It's
Well,
great that
it's just starting on TV now too.
who's
Canada
playing.
women. Canadian women's team. They're got the intro on the TV right now.
And who are they playing?
I'm not sure.
I think it's Finland, but anyway, Kerry, thanks very much for coming on. And
hey, Wally.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. We'll talk later.
Okay. Take care, everybody.
I know.
Bye-bye. Give me a call when you want, Terry. Bye-bye.
Okay, see you guys.
Okay.
I got to get my hair cut now.
Me too.